velocity 2,900 feet per second, altitude 9 nautical miles, downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
I would want to ask, so how are you doing? How did that make you feel? And just see what kind of words come up. Because the thing that I was sharing with Corey actually on the way up was something to be really careful of is how we can sometimes put our own reactions and feelings to words into the mix, and we can assume somebody's feeling something, and we might try and assert a response that we think we needed to hear, and it may be something very different than what the little one is going through. And this will only help it be more age appropriate and fitting where they're coming from. So just creating the space for them to talk about what's going on inside their head and their heart. And sometimes that within itself can just really help release a lot of that negative thought and feeling that they have. While you're sitting with them, knowing that that's not true, that's not who they are, that you know and you see them for who they are, the beautiful, wonderful little boy of yourself, of yours. You know, that makes a big difference. And then when people talk about us as if we are just one thing, that feels really bad. And I think that's really helpful too sometimes as parents, to be able to identify that that hurts and it's not okay. And actually, a very proactive thing that families can do is they can really work on not having labels in their household. Being able to differentiate or start to stop that kind of language, you are this. For example, instead of I am fat, I mean, someone may legitimately be overweight. You know, I have a higher weight. It's very different between I am fat and I have weight to lose. That's not who I am as a person. That's something that's going on with my body. Using that kind of language will help kids eventually start to see that differentness between my whole self, my identity, and what's happening on the exterior. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yeah, I think that was really great. I'll be using the I have versus the I am statement myself. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sure, and I'm going to speak generally. I don't know how this is going for you at home, but I think, you know, whether a child appears a little bigger in their stature, or maybe they legitimately have gained a little bit of extra weight, I think what is so important is for parents, for us not to move into restricting their eating, because what we really need to keep children from the very beginning in touch with is their innate hunger and fullness. And for the most part, you know, unless there are things interfering with it, kids can rely on their hunger and fullness. And so, you know, if parents perceive, they have concerns about their child's weight, or maybe the child brings concerns, so the parent naturally wants to help, and we start cutting back or limiting, that really, more often than not, you'll see the children's weight start escalating more, and can set children up to end up overeating and sneaking food and such. So that would be something I just really want people to be very cautious of. And I think it again comes back to the family dinner table and role modeling healthy eating habits. And again, I say healthy, not meaning like everything's total health food, but moderation and balance and variety and well-balanced meals. I think, you know, having specific meal times and snack times is important, so that kids do arrive to the table hungry, and then they can stop when they're full. And really inhibiting grazing, things like that. Trying to really stick with water, not to say that we can't have soda or juice or things like that, but really water and milk. So I guess the big thing that comes up for me is not putting any restrictions on them. Of course, we're trying to do the best, but really inhibit and interfere with their innate ability. And we have to trust that they're growing naturally. A big thing to look at, I'll get often parents come to my office and, oh, my child's overweight or what have you. But we look at the growth chart, and all along that child has always been a bit bigger in stature or such. So they're very normal, healthy. But maybe parents, might feel there's a problem with that. But we have to look at that aspect too and know that that's just their stature and trust that the child will grow into their full potential, their natural body. Trust that they'll feed themselves appropriately as we're our good guides.